Previously on MDA.
Let me ask you, are you absolutely sure that you understand all of that?
Lawyers? Yes. You want me to sign another form? I will. Okay, look, I'm scared. Who wouldn't be? But if Tim is going to perfect this, then somebody has to go first.
I've told Peter there's plenty of contenders willing to go second.
We have a gentleman from the reinsurer flying in, and I'm sure that Tim will be able to convince him.
Congratulations. Blairwater is proud to be indemnifying your surgery.
So what happened to this trumped-up liposuction claim?
Yeah, hi, Vince. Yeah, we had to settle.
It's the first word they teach you in here, isn't it? Settle.
Well,
First position that comes up on the board, you have my vote.
Anything to stop Vince Phillips establishing a power base. How do you know I wouldn't side with Vince?
Well, that's a chance I'm prepared to take.
This company is a disgrace. You need to reassess where the monies are being spent. We simply contract the legal work out to specialist lawyers. We'd save a huge amount on salaries.
I couldn't believe it, you know. I was with Peter, testing how much feeling he got back after the operation, and he told me that a nurse told him to go and get a lawyer. A nurse.
Have you spoken to him?
I'm going to MDA now. I thought I'd talk to him before the board meeting starts. Oh, I suppose you've had Vince Phillips on the phone chewing your ear. No? Well, I guess he just assumes you'll be voting with Mark. Anyway, look, I'll see you.
See ya. Okay, what have we got here?
Road trauma.
I am sorry, Vince, but it is out of my hands.
You keep saying that, but the board carries some weight.
Bill, how much longer is Vince going to be there?
God knows. Lola, there may be a change to the agenda for this afternoon's board meeting. Stand by to phone me around.
Does that mean I have to ditch this agenda?
Amend it. You may have to amend.
Right, I think I hate board meetings.
We need to talk to him.
Life is full of disappointment, Simon.
Did he bring his records?
No idea.
Oh, this is ridiculous.
Amanda, don't.
No, his mediation is today, and we have been hounding him for weeks for these records.
Sorry, is concerned with weightier matters
I just had a call from a Dr. Peachy.
Never heard of him.
No, well, he's never called on us before.
Yeah, give him a medal. Vince is in king-making mode.
Who's he making king?
Let me guess, himself?
Which, given his well-documented love of outsourcing, could see us all unemployed by Christmas. Not that I'm being alarmist.
But you don't even plan to challenge, according to the President's column in the latest newsletter. Our members don't want MDA turning into an insurance company and all that goes with it.
Yeah, well, we have no choice on that matter.
Yes, we do.
It's already been before Cabinet.
Yes, but it hasn't passed the House yet. It's still in draft legislation, and we have to pressure them to drop it.
Vince, both sides of Parliament support it.
None of our members do.
Yeah, neither do I, but that's irrelevant.
Well, if a public outcry can't force them to drop it, then clearly we're not a democracy.
Hate to break it to you, Vince, but a bunch of well-heeled doctors protesting in self-interest
This may be a matter for the board.
Settle down.
As far as I'm concerned, this organisation needs to resist, and that means change.
This is about the future of medical services and practices. It's about doctor confidence and patient services.
I think it's also about the fact that you appointed Ella to the board without consulting anybody else.
Here we go. You're nothing if not predictable, Vince. Now, you listen to me. As president of this organisation, I'm entirely within my rights to make whatever appointment I like to an interim
made,
position
you no
on the
doubt
board.
hoped that would bolster your flagging support
My
base.
flagging support base? What are you talking about?
Defeat's inevitable, Mark. The facts are I have 5 votes and you have 1. Frank and Gerald are with me. And on this issue, so are Tim and Saskia. All we can hope for is the possibility of Ella's vote. If you are not 100% committed to getting this proposed legislation dropped, I will move my motion of no confidence.
You're proposing a challenge to the presidency.
That's what happens after a vote of no confidence.
Well, you're going to have to put it as the first item on the agenda, otherwise the whole meeting will be a complete and utter farce.
Farce or tragedy. Depends on your point of view. Who else wanted me?
Yes, Mr. Phillips, please. Shall we?
Layla, can you find out if Tim and Sass are available?
Yeah, no, Tim's already on his way in. He called to see if Happy was available.
All right, well, Sass, ASAP, please.
Okay.
How did it end up?
Pistols at dawn. What was it you wanted to talk to me about before?
Dr. Peachy. It doesn't matter. He thought his patient's baby swallowed an earpiece at his surgery. He was just worried about litigation. I was going to run it by you, but it's under control. Now, you don't seriously think that... I mean, we're not all going to be out of a job.
Well, Amanda and I will. All legal work will be contracted out to external firms. It's all there in Vince's manifesto. Would you say, Jamison, that there's any love lost between you and Vince Phillips? Exactly. The board obviously do not care. Look at me, 12 years of dedicated service. I've refused high-paid offers from elsewhere. I've never billed for overtime, and I've been on call every Christmas day since 1994. Why would they care, though, when they can appoint a statesman like Vince Phillips?
Linda Klein first came to see me with Bruno, her husband, about liposuction.
Okay, now isn't it a little bit unusual for a husband to accompany his wife to that sort of consultation?
He's the one signing the checks. Anyway, they were both there, and before I'd finished discussing that procedure, Bruno piped up and said, listen, mate, can you do something about her twat flaps while you're there?
Did you hear about the claim against him?
No, actually, I purposely decided I didn't want to.
A young lady came in for a labia trim, which he performed, damaging
really don't want to hear
the
about
nerves
it.
in the process. So, loss of sensation led to poor sex, led to marriage breakdown, led to a writ.
Well, it appeared to me that Mrs. Klein was just going to yield to whatever Bruno requested. She was a complete doormat.
Okay, you
and I
surmised
thought to
all of
myself that this guy will just walk out on her any day now because he'll get so bored.
You deduced all this from your first consultation?
Well, it wasn't difficult.
Did you advise Mrs. Klein that a labial trim is in fact unnecessary surgery?
I'm a cosmetic surgeon. A great deal of the work I do is unnecessary in the noble medical sense which you are implying. That's the very nature of elective
all of
procedures.
This is in your notes.
What he said is, yes, verbatim.
Well, we can't just take your word for that. That's why we requested a copy of your notes from the first consultation.
Well, it was an oversight. I'll happily come along to mediation and swear an oath that that was the gist of the conversation.
Mr. Phillips, oaths don't apply in mediation, and your observations don't match up with Mrs. Klein's version of the relationship.
You don't need my
notes.
notes
need your records
to argue the case.
Well, what else am I going to use?
I don't know. Logic, skill, intelligence? No. Sorry, my mistake for harboring unrealistic expectations.
All that aside, Mr. Phillips, I still require your records.
Well, I'll just call the clinic.
Good.
I didn't say I was on Vince's side.
You said you agreed with him.
I said I could understand where he was coming from.
Sass, it's Layla Young calling from MDA. Mark asked me to check if you're available. Putting you through now.
Hi, is Bill here?
Yeah, he's just in with Mark. He'll only be a minute.
Simon?
Tim, how are you?
Oh, it just seems like one disaster after another.
Yeah, I know the feeling.
And anyway, it isn't Vince's side, it's just one side of the debate.
And he's on it.
Along with thousands of other doctors who prefer the discretionary indemnity system.
Haven't you got anything better to do than chat up the receptionist, Lawless?
Well, how serious is it? Is there any chance it's going to proceed down the litigation track, or...?
Problem?
Nothing out of the ordinary, Vince.
Litigation path? Not a problem.
We were just discussing nurses, actually.
Nurses?
Jamie Lawless.
Bill, can you spare a second?
Always here to serve.
Well, even if you're not sure the baby swallowed the earpiece, you should still tell the mother anyway, because she's going to get a hell of a shock if she finds it in the baby's nappy.
In other words, you didn't do exactly what you said you'd do.
Yes, I did.
The protocols, the consent forms, Tim, state that you would put in one device.
When we opened him up, we discovered that the spinal cord wasn't partially severed at all. It was more like a bruised, semi-liquid mush that extended over about 1 centimetre.
And you didn't know this in advance?
Well, it was surrounded by bone. I mean, we did MRIs, we did CAT scans, we did X-rays. I mean, There's some things you just can't know until you open them up and have a look.
But you decided to proceed with it anyway.
With 2 devices, that was the only difference.
A difference is still a difference, Tim, for Christ's
What
sake.
was I supposed to do? Just stop right there?
Yes.
Sew him up and ask his permission?
Yes, and you know it.
Well, it's fucked.
Well, we've got that sorted. Okay, we have a patient left with continual and severe pain.
Which we can manage. And it may gradually get better.
Or may not.
I explained to him several times that this was a possibility. He signed all of those consent forms. We put him on videotape. I mean, surely I'm covered somehow.
What makes you think that this could become a claim? He didn't seem very litigious when we spoke to him.
A nurse gave him Richard Savage's number.
Mr. Hawthorne saw the state of Peter's spinal column, went uh-oh, and then just made it up as he went along.
So you think he was that cavalier, then?
Well, not quite, but he never thought about Peter.
Wasn't the procedure to fix Peter's spine?
The point was that the procedure was to see if he could fix Peter's spine. They never discussed how it would affect him. Look, it was all about what they could do to see if they could get the device in there. That's all they talked about, saving the experiment.
Of course, there may not be a connection between the departure from the agreed procedure and Peter's pain.
No.
Can I just ask you, what's in it for you, Katie?
What?
Any sort of history with you and Mr. Hawthorne?
History?
Come on.
No.
No previous run-ins, anything like that?
No.
Okay, so you're highly qualified to assist with this kind of surgery, are you?
I am.
Okay. So did the surgeons piss you off?
Some of them.
Tim Hawthorne?
Not especially. He's quite nice, actually. Look, I just don't like the way it's left Peter. A number of times I've seen doctors change things in surgery without the patients being informed. That's all. They were guessing. Pure and simple.
Did anyone else hear what you heard?
The other nurse who was on was Sue Grabowski. She'll back me up.
That's good. It's useful. Peter Jarman, I'm Richard Savage. I spoke to you this morning. How are you feeling?
I'll be honest with you. Shithouse.
What really gets me is Peter is getting some feeling back. I mean, it's slow, of course, because nerves only regain their conductivity to about a millimetre a day, and that can stop at any time. But something is happening.
It's great.
Which means the procedure is worthwhile. It's working. I mean, it's not a miracle cure, but it's working. I really want to continue with the surgery, Bill, but if this goes to court, it could kill the program dead.
It won't go to court.
Big statement.
No, I will make sure that it doesn't.
Good. The other question is, if this new insurance model takes over, am I still covered?
I wouldn't worry about that. What matters is that right now, thanks to Mark, yes, you are. What do you want to do next year, Tim?
Avoid bankruptcy?
Yeah, no, I mean, what do you want to do, really? If you think that by voting Mark out, we're going to keep the system we've got now, forget it. There's no ideal solution, but if you want to do more operations like this one, if you want to perfect the surgery and make a significant contribution, you're going to have to go with us. If you make a stand, next year you'll be uncovered and in a queue at Centrelink.
Apparently the president can score a car space in this building, but board members can't.
Vince?
All right, I'm just going to feed my meter. Doing a little lobbying, Bill.
What?
Taking board members aside one by one.
Oh.
I must say, I didn't expect you to be so overt.
So you're saying that the records will be here this afternoon?
You saw me phoning my rooms? Jill is driving them over here herself. Hope that meets your satisfaction.
Thank you.
Now, there's a PA for you. If it wasn't for her slightly asymmetrical cheekbones, she'd be perfect.
Hasn't he got a patient to see or something?
I think he plans to hang around till the meeting.
Cruel and unusual punishment for us all.
Bill feels it won't go to court. I wish I shared his confidence.
He knows what he's talking about.
This is a case without precedent.
Tim, it's not the case at all yet, okay? So don't jump the gun.
Tim warned me about the pain, and I thought, okay, I might be able to live on painkillers for a while, but I thought I'd be able to work at least. I mean, I've only got to sit in front of a computer screen, you know? But nothing stops it. They can dull it, but then I just fell out of it. I want to know if I can get anything for not being able to work.
I'd say loss of future earnings would be a major part of your claim.
I signed all that consent stuff.
Peter, if they didn't tell you that you may never be able to work again, then the consent you gave can't really be called informed, can it?
I said I wouldn't sue him.
Circumstances change.
No, I still said I wouldn't. It's pioneering stuff, and that's what they were all afraid of. Plus, he's a nice guy. I like him.
Okay, it's nothing personal. I think it's your right under law.
If I can get $200,000, maybe $300,000, enough to pay off the house, maybe get a car.
You deserve much more. Loss of income, pain and suffering. Peter, I strongly recommend you pursue compensation.
Well, if they want to offer me a few mil, that'd be great, I suppose, but...
The fact that Tim didn't follow his agreed surgical procedure is understandable, given what he was faced with. But that doesn't help us, so I've called St Albans and the manufacturer of the device. If we're in the shit, we're all in the shit.
Well, we can still put up a fight, though. Informed consent's got to mean something.
No, we can't run with this, Marcus.
Yeah, and we can't settle for $2 or $3 million either.
We might have
No,
to.
Bill. Now, Vince Phillips knew damn well that this was going to happen. That's why he was adamant that we shouldn't take on this whole financial obligation. If we settle for a couple of million, that's simply saying to him that he's far-sighted and responsible, and I am not going to give him that sort of ammunition.
But I promised, Tim, this would not go to court.
You promised?
Look, if we don't settle, the whole thing...
No, settle by all means, but just settle low.
What, when Savage's client can't work for the rest of his life?
Well, you're the lawyer. No millions, Bill. I'm not going to give that arrogant little prick the chance to say I told you so. It's defendable, Bill. Now, if we settle it all, it has to be for $500,000 or less. I'm serious about this. I've spoken to Sass Rogers, and she's not exactly committed to Vince Phillips.
No, I'm not surprised.
Have you spoken to Ella?
No, but she will understand.
Things are a bit tense out there.
Yeah, I'm just trying to keep my head down.
Me too.
Vince Phillips' notes on his consultation with Linda and Bruno Klein. The near-perfect Jill just dropped them off.
Have you looked through them?
Bruno's sensitive comments are recorded as promised.
And...
Read.
2 cretins, $15,000, maybe more, plus cretin fee. And we have to give these to the plaintiff?
Absolutely.
While continuing to claim he delivered an accepted standard of care.
This could be our future president.
Sure. Happy call coming through.
Thanks, Layla.
Good.
Bill Henderson.
I'll see you.
Ah, Saskia. How you going? No, just the usual chaos. Has he now? Well, that's, I see.
Frank.
Very interesting. Do you know, has he rang everybody?
Very important meeting today, my friend. You're going to be needed.
Vince, you got a second?
Oh, you've got the records, haven't you? Frank, I'm sorry, I'll have to call you back.
An unprofessional comment to put on a patient's written record, don't you think?
One sentence can hardly be used as evidence of negligence surgery.
We need to talk about this.
Well, thanks for the heads up, Saskia. Okay, bye.
This is unbelievable. I decided to keep myself sane with a little ironic humor one afternoon, and you decide you have to settle.
Better you than me.
It demonstrates a less than caring attitude.
And how is that negligence?
Okay, it does put things on a path that can end in negligence.
Many hundreds of kilometres later,
Look, can we just summarise? These records, which we have to give to the other side...
I know.
What they do, paradoxically, is support our case against causation but weaken our case against negligence.
Look, the argument is this simple. Nerve damage from labia surgery is not uncommon. They were warned it was possible, and the marriage was a farce. There are no grounds for compensation at all. For goodness sake, here I am trying to save this system, and you're trying to tell me you can't even get rid of a silly little claim like this. Talk to me about unprofessional, bloody hell.
That's just shit-stirring.
Saskia said Vince is making it sound like you're attempting to stack the board with your cronies.
It was just one appointment. How does that constitute stacking?
Well, maybe in retrospect, your decision to appoint Ella without consulting the board wasn't politically wise.
Yeah, well, I don't write the Constitution, Bill.
No, but you could have rung around first. There was no tearing hurry. No one would have opposed the appointment, not even Vince at the time.
Yeah. And now he's using it against me. All right, fine. If Vince fucking Phillips wants to start hurling mud around, I can hurl some back.
No, don't do that. That is the last thing that you should
look,
do.
I'm sorry, Bill. It is time that we got proactive.
No, look, Vince's need to create a diversion will work against him. He's grasping at straws anyway with this appointment thing. We need to stick to the facts.
He's an arsehole.
No argument. Just stick to the facts, Mark.
I don't expect to be popular. I just don't agree with going along with something when everybody else is screaming this is not right.
Bill and Mark are saying resistance is futile.
So?
So, if they're right, then we're just being prima donnas. If patients are going to suffer, well, we just stamp our foot to make a point. On the other hand, they'll suffer anyway if we don't resist.
Exactly. We all know colleagues who are planning to retire before the changeover or drop out if the money gets tight. I meet them every day. Those that remain will be left to shoulder higher fees. So don't talk to me about patients.
Some doctors are already advising their patients that they're not covered.
Good for them.
Hey, I'm going to get some lunch. Do you want to join me?
I've got a mediation shortly.
Oh, I'll come down. A doctor will only be able to buy $20 million worth of cover. So if a claim or a series of claims come through totaling more than that, the doctor will be ruined. The government is asking us to sign a policy which they claim will protect us. It may in fact ruin us. There are things worth fighting for here. Things we have to fight for. Mark is not going to fight for us. That's what you have to remember. Shall we? I'll get it.
It's fine. MDA. Yeah.
Bill, can I just confirm that discretionary cover does in fact give us the discretion not to cover someone?
Let me guess. Vince.
He's already on the high-risk list, and now this case comes in.
Yeah, he's a frequent flyer, but this claim dates from before he was put on the list.
What he's written in his notes is almost defamatory.
But his surgery wasn't actually negligent, was it?
Vince does the most expedient thing, the thing that's going to line his pockets the quickest, and we're expected to protect him.
Of course, if Mark were to instruct us not to offer a settlement on Vince's current matter on the basis of his bad record, you'd then be forced to either convince the plaintiff to withdraw
or if we couldn't, it'd go to court.
And the board couldn't possibly elect a president facing a court action. That would be far too embarrassing. The professional thing, of course, is to do all we can to get the best result for our member, who naturally is convinced he did no wrong.
Yeah, of course.
So what's the upshot?
We have to cover him.
Oh, I told you.
Mind you, I got the distinct feeling Bill liked the idea of pushing Vince through to court.
It doesn't. But, you know, that's personal and...
This is professional. Yeah, that point was made to me.
Well, you certainly shouldn't have had a used earpiece on your desk. Why hadn't you autoclaved? Well, yes, it does make a difference, but you still have to tell the mother. I suggest you do it straight away, Dr. Peachy. Can you just hold on for a minute? MDA. Yeah, hang on. Happy? It's Richard on the line. Shall I tell him to crawl up his own ass, or shall I put him through?
Thanks, Jamison. Greetings, Richard.
Bill, can I talk to you about Peter Jarman and Tim Hawthorne for a second?
Them, yeah, sure.
I thought you might be aware of the situation.
Yeah, well, I'm aware that he signed a consent form the size of the Gutenberg Bible.
I just thought we might be able to reach a quiet agreement that's fair to Peter without having to issue writs and allegations against basically a good doctor. What do you say?
Does it have to be today?
I've got a coronial inquiry all next week, and Peter's going to demand that I lodge something with the Supreme Court if I don't get him something ASAP.
Okay.
Thanks, Bill.
If Vince does get elected, I'm going to be replaced by the fabulous Jill.
Possibly. No, I think he needs a fabulous Jill for window dressing.
If he did offer you a redundancy package, you'd get another job within days, wouldn't you?
My age with the enemies I've made, not a chance.
Well, you get something.
Got 4 kids, Layla. I need the GDP of a small African nation just to cover the mortgage, the car payments, the school fees, life insurance, health insurance, car, phone, electricity, the Greenpeace levy.
Greenpeace?
Yeah, Nancy signed up when Jason was born. There's a trade-off for buying disposable nappies.
Okay, babe. Hello, stranger. The meeting's going to be starting late. I just found out.
Do we know how late?
40 minutes? Do you want me to call the hospital for you?
Yeah, could you?
Sure.
Thanks.
Okay.
Hi there.
Hello.
Oh, well, lots of colour and movement in here today.
Vince is on the warpath.
Hello.
Hello.
Welcome back.
Dr. Murcott just called. He's going to be about 40 minutes late. He's stuck at the hospital.
Oh, that gives us a chance to catch up. So I assume you've heard that Vince is bringing a no-confidence motion against Mark?
No. When did this happen?
A few hours ago. I would have assumed that he would have phoned you. He's called everyone else, apparently. It's typical Vince, just making trouble.
Well, I'll talk to Mark. It's good to be back.
Yeah. Vince has been lobbying all day long, pulling every trick out of the book, trying to make it appear as though I'm underhanded and in bed with the government. He's even arcing up about me appointing you to the board. Of course, Phillips will think that I did it to maintain my hold on power, but the fact is, I had no idea I was under any threat until this morning. So I was sort of curious to know, Ella, how you'll be voting.
But I'd love to be able to tell you.
He's got to be a shocker. How many other sex lives has he ruined?
There is always the slight chance of nerve damage with this sort of surgery, Fergus.
This can't be the first time he's got into trouble. It isn't, is it?
His previous claims history is irrelevant to this incident and inadmissible in court.
You're not seriously going to hold to the line that this surgery wasn't negligent?
It wasn't. The nerve damage occurs because the genitalia are packed with dozens of nerves which are never precisely in the same place with any 2 individuals.
Sure, but when the surgeon has his mind on his fee and not on his scalpel, like your Mr. Phillips did, I mean, these notes that you've just faxed through to me are astonishing.
Where's your clinical evidence, Fergus? One ironic comment in a private note's hardly damning
He's a callous,
evidence of
greedy
negligence.
snob.
Just stick to the facts.
He didn't care about my client at all. Didn't even try to talk her out of it. He just thought of the cash and booked her in. That's a fact. A quick slice, a few stitches, a glass of water, a couple of pills, and home you go. Oh, hang on. Got to think of the bill first. We don't want to get the bill wrong, do we? Let me see.
Joanne. Fergus, there's nothing to be gained by personal attacks.
Pardon me. What would you call a butchered labia?
How's it going? All set?
All done.
They started yet?
No, they're running late.
Oh, shit. Is Ella here?
She's in with Mark.
That should tell you all you need to know.
No conspiracy theories, Vince, please.
Ask her yourself then.
Hi, Ella.
Hi, Sass.
Ask her what?
If you're Mark Stooge.
Oh, for Christ's sake, Vince.
Well, come on, let's hear it. Where do you stand? The government is inviting us to pay more to be covered for less. And asking us to be managed by insurance salesmen. Mark thinks it's a grand plan.
I don't think it's a grand anything, Vince. It's a fait accompli.
I assume you agree with that?
Oh, just give over with a third degree, will you, Vince? Just give it a rest, for Christ's sake.
All right, it's your choice. It's either me or Mark.
Pity, really, because both of you are pricks. Anyway, anyone want a coffee?
No, thanks.
No.
Well, I do. In the absence of scotch.
Oh, bollocks.
If there is no adverse outcome, Fergus, then we don't need to continue debating the question of negligence.
My client is suffering a degradation of her sexual pleasure. That's an adverse outcome in any language, isn't it?
Well, according to our gynecologist, the loss of sensation is only on one side. While that is regrettable, penetration is still possible, conception certainly possible. There is no pain, and orgasm through clitoral stimulation should be unaffected. Our report suggests a detraction from sexual satisfaction only to a minor degree.
How would you know? How would your gynecologist know? Anyway, it was a big deal for Mr. Klein.
You're talking about a man who refers to his wife's genitalia as twat flaps.
He was very sensitive to Linda's changed condition.
He said, and I quote, "Fix her twat flaps, mate." This is Mr. Sensitive?
This, plain speaking, doesn't alter the fact that he was acutely aware of her physical response when they were engaged in...
crap.
A reasoned rebuttal would be preferable.
And his frustration and guilt led directly to all of their arguments, which led to their separation, which led to the actual and demonstrable adverse outcome we're claiming for.
Guilt?
Yes. Mr. Klein suffered deeply because all this happened as a result of his suggestion. A suggestion which Phillips made no effort at all to talk them out of.
Oh, and that's his job? He's a cosmetic surgeon. They requested a procedure and he conducted it.
If your client wants to take this to court, however, we're happy.
You're confident of your chances in court?
We are.
May I have some time to confer with my client?
Of course.
Simon, we can't let this go to court.
They hardly have a strong case.
We hardly have an endearing doctor.
The truth of the matter is, Amanda, that court holds some advantages for us.
No, it doesn't.
It does.
It doesn't. I know what you're thinking, but it's our job to settle. We've got to get Vince Phillips off the hook as cheaply as possible. No matter what an undeserving pig he is, it's our job. Okay.
What this is about is the good standing of doctors in our community.
So what do we do, Vince? Just say, no, I'm sorry, we don't accept this legislation.
Well, why not?
What's that going to do for our good standing in the
We're
community?
hoping that if we stick together, they'll back down and let us keep discretionary cover.
And what if they don't?
There won't be any doctors.
Fairyland.
No, it's a tough stance, Bill. It's our only option. We've got to have guts, a bit of leadership.
So if it's going to work, it has to be nationwide. There's still time to organise that. We should get the AMA involved.
Good luck.
Shit, Bill, we're not saying it's going to be easy, but if you just say, oh, it's impossible, it's just impossible, then it is bloody impossible. We're just trying to find a strategy that might make it possible.
There aren't any.
You see, brick wall.
So are you saying that you'd be quite happy to let us meekly out into a world where every single doctor in this country can be bossed around by the insurance giants?
No, he's thinking of saving his own job. We all know that.
I'm just letting you know the facts, Vince. And the facts are, 1, everybody agreed we had to be regulated. 2, the government gave the job to APRA. And 3, APRA told the government that to be properly regulated, we needed to become insurance companies.
Wait a minute. The general public trust APRA? This is the same regulatory body that was in charge when the country's largest insurer collapsed into a $5 billion black hole. The same collapse, ironically, that nearly drowned us. And you're saying that the general public believes that we would be safer in their hands?
That's where it's at. Ella?
Shitty position to be in, really, isn't it?
Excuse me, sorry. Happy Richard Savage says he's waiting.
No, thanks, Layla.
Need me?
No, not yet.
What's happened? Is there something gone wrong with this spinal thing?
It's fine, Vince. Everything's
I
fine.
thought
Just
you were
leave
quiet
it.
at lunch. Mark wanted us to cover you for this surgery ourselves, and I said no, it could cost millions. And now it looks like it will cost millions? I don't see anyone thanking me.
Thanking you?
Mark was going to expose this organisation to the entire risk. It's very helpful. Fortunately, there was one board member, me, prepared to remember fiscal responsibility.
You don't give a shit about my
Oh,
work,
listen,
do you?
Tim, of course I give a shit. It's about priorities.
If the legislation goes through, there may not be enough cover for any kind of experimental surgery. It can't go through unchanged. There'll be no discretion, nothing outside the insurance policy contract.
No. Thank you, Ella. That was a refreshingly logical observation.
Mark backed me when I needed it. You didn't.
Leave Mark in the presidency and he won't have the power to back you in an egg and spoon race.
Bugger it. Can't vote for him. I couldn't do it. Like kissing a funnel web.
No, the facts are that Peter Jarman signed a consent form and he ticked everything. We even have him on videotape saying he fully understands this is high-risk surgery.
But then Hawthorne changed the procedure.
A brilliant piece of quick thinking which prevented further atrophy of the spinal cord.
It's not what the theatre nurse heard. She heard a conversation about how to save the experiment, no mention of the agreed protocol.
No, we just meant
Peter's
to. Are
outcome.
we meant to accept the memory of a nurse who we may assume has an axe to grind? Or did she have a dictaphone hidden up her sleeve
Right,
somewhere?
well, there were two nurses, actually, and two recollections. And let's not applaud the surgeon too much either. Peter Jarman's on permanent painkillers.
Early results indicate that he's also getting some feeling back. And that suggests to me that the surgeon deserves some acknowledgement. A 10-year research program that is actually paying dividends.
Bill, I understand Hawthorne's desire to want to continue with this program, but if you want to keep this out of the public eye, I have to take something back.
No, look, I can't just hand you over a cheque because you're asking nicely.
Well, we
this
both know the
time.
game here. We both know this game. Informed consent won't do it. He consented to one procedure. He got another.
Yes, you will have to prove causation.
Plus, he might have understood he could be left in pain, but not how much and how badly that would affect his life.
Well, what are we meant to be compensating him for? Lack of imagination?
Right, well, the way he was before the operation, he could have easily continued with his job in IT. Since the operation, he can't even concentrate on a crossword puzzle.
There's no evidence that the pain will be lifelong.
All right, so I mean, we could wait a year or two, but if we do, it'll be a claim in the Supreme Court. And if it goes that far, I won't be asking nicely.
Or maybe the pain will have gone away and there'll be no basis for any compensation.
So which way do you want to jump? If we wait a year or two, yes, you might get off scot-free, or you might lose big time. Hawthorne will lose his program. Or you could take the lesser bath now, keep it quiet, get it off your books. Is that good?
I have one.
Thanks.
Was he ever abusive? Sometimes. Did he ever force you to have sex?
Hey, is this a trial?
Amanda, we're here to deal with medical negligence.
Mrs. Klein wants money for losing her marriage. She wants us to compensate her for losing something rich and valued. The truth is, I don't think that's what it was.
What would you know about that?
We have evidence to suggest that your husband was, in fact, a brutal, domineering man.
Well, I loved him, and fuck what you think of him. I loved him. I had the surgery and it wrecked my marriage.
I think my client has summed things up perfectly.
Mrs. Klein, can I ask, did Mr. Phillips explain the risk of the procedure?
More or less.
Well, did he or didn't he?
You don't have to answer. She doesn't have to be harangued.
I think just one person at a time need question, Mrs. Klein.
Yes, he explained.
Did you understand?
Yes.
He said there might be some risk of losing sensation.
He said there was a small risk.
And did that worry you? The risk of losing sensation?
Yes, of course.
Before the operation, were you personally happy with sex?
I don't think that's any of your
I'm
business.
trying to establish if there was a reason
Bruno
why...
wanted it.
Can I ask why?
He said he thought I looked funny. He was only thinking of me.
Mrs. Klein, if you'll forgive me, I think the issue here isn't how much you loved your husband. You did and you do. It's whether he loved you. Did he really leave because of this operation, because he felt guilty? When you feel guilty, don't you try to make amends somehow?
Without the operation, they'd still be together. He'll say that and she'll say that.
And who's going to believe it? I think there's a chance that your husband was using this as an excuse to get out of your marriage because he couldn't just tell you the truth. He couldn't just say to you, I don't love you.
Mrs. Klein, do you need a break?
Mrs. Klein, if we went to court, you'd have to go over your whole relationship and your sex life in front of the whole world to show that your marriage would have ended with or without surgery. Is that what you really want? Is that going to help?
So what does this lesser bath involve?
Peter had 30 years of gainful employment ahead of him, at the very minimum $1 million, maybe even as high as $2 million.
No, you can forget about millions.
Just give me a figure.
350,000.
We are talking about security and ongoing care for someone who can't even work.
For now.
600,000.
No, in this context, by my calibration, that is excessive.
So?
500,000.
All right, fine.
With a confidentiality agreement. Now, I can't say yes to this on my own at the moment. If this were a claim, there'd be 3 defendants, Arsec, Med and St Albans. I need them all in on it.
Deal's on the table for 7 days.
Oh, Jesus, Bill. And what if the hospital and the manufacturer won't come in on this? Is that the best you can do?
You know, funnily enough, I thought I handled this rather well. We could have finished up in court.
That's not an option. I need Tim's vote.
But Mark was relieved?
Relief was not the dominant response.
Happy. The men from ECMED and Oswald Brown are both on their way in now.
Thanks, Layla. Okay, where were we?
Okay, let's say we go with the flow and become an insurance company. I think we know what that means.
Well, some things won't be covered at all. Sexual misconduct, anything of that nature.
I could live with that.
Even if the doctor's innocent.
Any criminal matters? Forget ex gratia payments for lost income if you're found not guilty.
In 99% of cases, it will be business as usual. Sure, we lose some flexibility, but in exchange, we get a system. The government knows it will not have to bail out again.
Yeah, but we still have to fund it, Bill. We're being ordered to do something, then we're being ordered to pay for it. Then we're being told we'll look like selfish bastards if we increase our fees. Who the hell do they think we are?
Who's they, Vince? If you mean the general public, they think you're an elitist little club that cares more about your own incomes than the needs of public health.
That's an unfair perception, and it really gets to us.
Us? You're talking like doctors are one big like-minded family, and you know that is not the case, Ella.
Hap, first we have judges holding us to ransom, politicians telling us our business. It's no wonder that a few of us doctors feel as though our judgment and integrity are being held up to question.
May I remind you that Vince has had 6 claims of negligence against him in the past 2 years.
Cleared on every one of them.
All right. Blame whoever you want. Fact is that running our own MDOs has brought some of us to the brink of collapse. Now, the more we resist change, the less responsible we are.
Well, why is it irresponsible to want a better system than this insurance model offers us? Look, how much leeway is there for negotiation on this legislation?
None. It's sign up or quit.
Vince, if we can get them to concede just 1 point, we could probably refine quite a few of the rules.
Well, how much can we refine?
I don't know, Sass, but I believe it's possible.
You said it wouldn't be.
Well, the reality is they haven't budged an inch. Am I right?
Happy Mr. Fellows and Mr. Brown are here?
Thank you, Layla.
Should I come with you?
No, this is lawyer work. Something doctors can't fix.
Okay, here's what I think. I think that if Mark is right and that there is room for negotiation, and I'm sticking with him. Sorry, Vince.
Ella?
Vince.
Well, it appears as though the votes are 3 apiece. So we're going to fight strength with strength, or just continue to give in?
What about the informed consent procedures?
Complete and rigorous.
But we might still be sued.
We're trying to avoid it.
So you want me to write a cheque on behalf of ECMED to avoid being sued?
I want us to agree that the privately negotiated figure will, in the first instance, be funded equally between the 3 of us.
There's nothing wrong with ECMED's device.
How do you know?
It wasn't run up in an idle moment, Bill. It was developed over 5 gruelling years, made to exact specifications, comprehensively tested. If it was used wrongly, it's not our fault.
Was it used wrongly?
You tell me. The surgery took place at your hospital, Oswald.
So if we pay, does it close the door on any further action?
Yes, definitely. Then, at a later date, we can decide what percentage of the payout each of us should bear based on the decision of an independent senior counsel.
And what if we said no?
If you say no, it's back to our friend Mr. Savage. Tell him we can't finalise the deal. And then, a couple of years later, it might all be forgotten, or we could be in the Supreme Court, shelling out $6 million.
This is like playing Russian roulette.
Thanks.
Hi.
I wonder if Vince has been elected the new president of MDA.
I'm not sticking around if he has.
Really? You'd quit?
Absolutely. To act on policy implemented by him would be intolerable.
I don't know how you can be so definite about things.
I don't know, I've never thought about it.
That's probably how.
Have we got a figure?
750,000.
Seriously?
He was adamant.
We're not a big company, Bill. We're a bunch of 30-something medical engineers mortgaged to our eyeballs.
It's steep, Bill.
Look, not compared to what the payout would be if it ended up in court, believe me.
We may never have to go to court. We could be paying this money out for nothing.
What if I can get it down to 6? That's 200 each.
I thought you said Savage was adamant.
Yeah, he is, but I can try.
6.
Do you really want the negatives out there? Do you want it splashed all over the papers? Or do you want to give this program a chance? And give yourself a chance to make a fortune out of it? What if I can get it down to 5? That's 166 each.
Can you?
If I can, have we got a deal?
$500,000 with an independent barrister.
Okay, done. Thank you, gentlemen. We'll be in touch as soon as things are finalised.
Cool. Thanks, Bill.
I'm sure we could get a lot more through litigation.
No. If they agree to 5, I'm happy.
Well, it's not too late. Nothing's signed.
Mate, I'm happy. Really.
Peter, it is not what you deserve, not for what you're going through.
Just send me a bill, please. And thank you. It's a great job.
Take care.
That was so quick.
Well, you had a bit to do with it too.
Don't people know it?
Word spread.
Half of them are saying well done and the other half want to kill me.
Katie, there is always a price to pay for doing what you think is right in this world. My firm does handle unfair dismissal claims, so if you need a lawyer, give me a call anytime.
Anytime?
Sure.
Okay.
Looking forward to it.
Success?
Yes, we settled for 15,000.
They're asking 25.
No admission of liability?
No.
15,000, though. Always a mad rush to settle.
All right, not a problem, Doctor. Bye-bye. Complete furphy. Dr. Peachy's patient rings him, all embarrassed because she found his earpiece in her handbag, where it had probably fallen, or the baby dropped it there. All that panic over nothing.
Could have been worse. Could have been his proctoscope.
Can I ask you why Mark doesn't have your vote?
Because we stand to lose too much. We need proper tail cover, run-off cover, blue sky cover, cost control.
They just don't want to be seen as being lenient, Ella.
Fully capitalised from the first day. I mean, it's backbreaking. Have you argued that?
Of course we have. But they've told us that we can't be exposed.
Okay, how about this? We phase it in over the next 5 years, an annual increase that doctors can cope with, because one big hit, we can't.
Yep, the problem is we need the cash in reserve to service the claims. They will not let us go anywhere near liquidation.
Yeah, but Hap, an insurance policy is only going to cover a doctor if they hold a policy when the incident occurs. And over the next 2 or 3 years, any claims that come in will have to be supported by MDA, not just by MDA insurance. And the only way for it to work is for the two to exist side by side.
Okay. So we can argue that we could raise the capital over several years and not be exposed at all.
Yeah. And if you want to argue that, you might have one more vote.
Terrific. Why didn't we have this conversation when you first arrived? Yeah. I've got to tell you that I had the temerity to ask Oswald before he left what St Albans thought of their new director of emergency. And he said there was a 64% drop in patient complaints and that she seemed to be loving it. Well, I'm glad that you're loving it.
I do. What about you?
Oh, you know what they say, the more things change, the more things stay the same.
Appreciate your time, gentlemen. We should be underway any minute now.
Pleasure. Layla, could you give me the number for the Federal Minister for Health, APRA's Deputy Commissioner and the AMA President, thank you.
Australia, Layla speaking.
You should take a photo of this, Jamison. Your melancholy boss savouring a rare moment of triumph and joy.
Yeah, I'll just put you through now. Okay. Happy, it's Nancy.
Too slow. Nancy, my dear.